Hi all, we're going to get started in just 1 minute, so thanks so much for your patience. Hi everyone. Welcome to the PowerShift 2016 media training. Let us know at any point if you can't hear us. Drop anything in the chat box. It's probably the best way to give us feedback as we roll forward with this. And thanks everyone for being here.
We only built in an hour for this call. And so just so that we are in the interest of time, and because this new technology we're utilizing for the first time doesn't allow us to see exactly how many people are possibly engaged at this point, we are going to skip intros. But we would truly appreciate your feedback on the training, be it via Twitter or via email, and we will be introducing ourselves. So here's a bit about us. Who are we?
I can start. My name's Devin. I'm the digital organizer here at Energy Action Coalition, the organization that's responsible for putting on PowerShift convergences since 2007, and including PowerShift 2016. I'm originally from Portland, Oregon, and fun facts, uncool facts, I've entered 3 different pie baking competitions. I've never won. Once I got second place though.
I've never got any of her pie, so let's start there. And I'm Ayanna Ford. I'm the PowerShift coordinator at Energy Action Coalition, soon to be the PowerShift Network. Something you would want to know in media. We'll get to that in a second. I'm a native Washingtonian, 8th generation. It's beautiful. And I love all things Janelle Monáe and Winnie the Pooh. Any mashups you have, I'll graciously accept. And that's just a bit about us. So why are we doing this training? Because we like trainings and skill shares in the organizing world, but more specifically, there's 3 main reasons we are offering this training to folks around PowerShift. The first is to ensure that we all feel comfortable speaking with mainstream and independent media before, during, and after PowerShift. The second is to advise all PowerShift supporters on the best practices for making sure that all of our communications, internally, externally, externally, however they're shared, meet the restrictions of our 501c3 status. And then third, to ensure that your narrative is heard loud and clear and not co-opted in any way. So the agenda. Who are media liaisons? Those people are you. What do they do before the conference? What do they do at the conference? And what do they do specifically during the direct action that happens at the conference? What don't they do? Because that's just as important. When do they start? And if you have any questions, we're hoping we have the answers.
Thanks, Ayanna. So to answer the first question on the agenda, who are media liaisons? In this context, media liaisons are PowerShift 2016 volunteers, again, that means you, who are going to help share and produce the narrative of PowerShift 2016 through various forms of media, and that includes earned media, independent media, self-generated, and social media.
So what do media liaisons do before PowerShift, Devin?
Well, for one, they identify and engage the earned media outlets that they would like to help cover PowerShift 2016. They also get familiar with social media best practices and various social media platforms so that they can share their own news from PowerShift. So what do media liaisons do during PowerShift? This is a list of a couple of things that are going to be key to that role. So one, you help produce the media, the visual media specifically. You take photos and videos during PowerShift programming and during the direct action portion of the convergence, which we'll talk a little bit more about.
2, you share updates, tweets, photos, and video during the PowerShift programming and direct action using social media.
You also work on connecting the press, and that when we talk about press, we mean mainstream news outlets and also small local independent news outlets and everywhere in between, with members of the PowerShift contingent and spokespeople for interviews.
And you play a role in diligently reminding participants of our C3 responsibilities, which we're happy to share with you in just a bit.
Yeah. Also, you share our talking points, which we will get into with the press as appropriate. And we'll get into talking points a little bit later in this training, but we have some PowerShift talking points that we've set up here, but also as part of the PowerShift media team, engaging with and developing those talking points is just as much on you as it is on us. We're not trying to control the narrative here at PowerShift 2016. It's something for you to help build out yourself.
Indeed. And that leads us to number 6. You have the possibility to join the Ninja Media Super Team. It's awesome. We'll talk more about it. But we need at least 3 people for this team per PowerShift.
Word. So talking points. I was just watching Parks and Recreation last night. I don't know if anyone else watches that show, but it was the episode in season 1 where Leslie Knope is talking to her team about the importance of staying on message. So that's what we're here to talk about, staying on message and what that message looks like for us at PowerShift. So here are a couple of our top line talking points about PowerShift 2016. What is it that we're doing and why? So here are some of those messages are: 1, Well, we believe that a strong grassroots movement can build a world where power, whether that be electrical, social, or political, is just, clean, and in the hands of the people.
4 regional power shift convergences are happening from coast to coast in order to lift up local fights and local organizing. We believe that in order to change the system, we need to start in our own communities.
Also, in 2016, a year so critical for our democracy and for our climate, we know that a movement that can win needs to be broad, diverse, and empowered to fight for justice everywhere.
And lastly, but not lastly, Power Shift's focus is on young people because our generation has so much at stake in the fight against climate chaos.
So those are some of our talking points, but Energy Action Coalition is the organization that is helping put on all of these regional convergences, but also we know that Power Shift could not exist without the support of all of our local partners and volunteers. So there's definitely room for messages, for your messages and your talking points within the overall narrative of Power Shift 2016. So as you work on developing what those messages look like for you, workshop that with us. And this, again, we want to make it very clear that Power Shift, the narrative of Power Shift 2016 is not something that we are trying to completely control. It's something that we're working on developing together.
So let's talk about social media. Very popular in 2016. Let's see what Devin has to say.
So in addition to earned media, the talking points that we were just addressing are things that you're going to say to the press. But also that message is going to resonate when you're sharing the Power Shift 2016 narrative when creating your own media, especially using social media platforms. And we expect that during the convergences and during the direct action components of every Power Shift, y'all will be engaged on various social media platforms, which can include but are not necessarily limited to Facebook, including Facebook Live, Twitter, Instagram, Periscope, Snapchat, but again, probably more. Probably number one most important thing to note about social media on Power Shift is please, 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 whether you're tweeting, Snapchatting, I guess you don't use hashtags on Snapchat actually, but whenever you're using a hashtag about Power Shift, hashtag Power Shift. It's right here, hashtag Power Shift. So I'm just gonna highlight that, hashtag Power Shift, use it. You can also tag us, Energy Action Coalition, if you want to make sure that we, from our platforms, see what you're talking about and can potentially help amplify it. And on Twitter, we're at Energy Action, and on Instagram, we are at Power Shift with an underscore.
Bonus fact, each of our sessions will have a hashtag. So the use of that hashtag while in a session will help to give people the experience of being in that session with you. Those hashtags will be forthcoming from session presenters, and we will be checking in with media liaisons to share that information. Be on the lookout. Help us spread the word on these internets.
Thanks, Ayana. And then super quick, some just general social media tips. 1, keep it visual, and 2, keep it short. Keep it visual means if you're trying to tell a story on social media, including some images and or videos is going to help communicate that message most effectively and is going to help it spread far and wide. So instead, whenever possible, instead of just tweeting such and such awesome thing just happened at Power Shift, take a picture of it or take a video of it and share that too. Also, keep it short. As you I'm sure already know, social media across platforms is not really a space for the most verbose versions of your thoughts. So whatever message it is that you're trying to tell, keep it short. So let's dig into that keep it visual piece a little bit more. Here are 2 examples of photos. One is one that I think is a pretty great photo on the left, and one on the right, and I took it so I can say this, is a not so great photo. And why do we think that is? Well, on the left is a photo that we had a professional photographer take at Power Shift 2013 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And if you look at it, you see we've got a good clear image of the messages that are on the banners. We've got pictures of folks' faces, and these people are active, they are smiling, they are talking, they are marching, they are engaged. And the signs are legible. We've got don't frack with our water, fun solutions, not pollution. You can read that. No coal, you can read that. And the line is clear, it's an action shot, it's well composed, the lighting is good, overall A+. On the other hand, on the right here, we have a picture that I took from Our Generation, Our Choice back in November. I had it on my phone. I did not think it was a very good photo. And why is that? Well, for one, you can't really read any of the banners unless you squint real hard. There's some in the back that you think they say Our Generation, Our Choice. That's what they do say, but it's hard. You have to work to read it. That is no bueno. Also, all these people in the photo, their backs are turned. They don't look like they're really doing anything. They're sort of standing around. I'm behind them. I was straining to get a good angle. It's not a compelling action shot. There was a lot of compelling action happening during this march, but that's just not conveyed in this picture. Also, the composition, again, I took this so I can be as critical as I want. Composition is not so good. Most of it is just gray sky, not the people, not the action that's happening on the ground. We don't want the sky. We want the stuff that's happening. And also, I should say that these are two examples of a similar kind of photo of an action going on. This is not the only way to take a good photo or a not so good photo, but I think that in general, you want to remember, think about the composition, make sure that you're highlighting the action, and make sure that banners and signs are front and center, and make sure that they're legible. Those are some basic tips. If any of y'all have other thoughts on photos that you've taken during actions that have worked or have not worked, feel free to drop those tips and tricks in the chat box or comment on the Hangout page on our Google Plus page, and we can help share those later on. Oops.
Ninja Media activated. So what is Ninja Media? A media tactic made popular by Get Equal that is intended to draw earned media to breaking news. This news is usually a direct action. History fact. Back in the days, Get Equal made bird dogging candidates extremely popular, particularly while Barack Obama was running for his first term in office. A lot of people never knew that these actions were taking place until they were broken as breaking news. And folks wanted to know, how did they do it? And I didn't know, but yet mainstream news was able to get there. That was Ninja Media. Who are the ninjas? In our case, it'll be a team of 3 to 6 people who are clear on the PS16 talking points, the ones we've generated and their own. And these people are great prank callers and fairly decent actors. They're also extremely attentive, because that's important. So how do you do it? First, you call the local news tip line from a list we'll provide to you. Second, you report the direct action occurring with full details as your character. In this instance, multiple people will be acting as multiple characters. So that is why we need 3 to 6 people. This is called your angle. It generally takes 3 different angles to make a story newsworthy. Here's an example of the 3-angle approach using some central staff at Energy Action Coalition. I'm a ninja media person. This is Ayana. Devin is a ninja media person. That's Devin. Sean is a ninja media person. They aren't here right now, but they're staff, so they do what we need. I would play the role of a PSN supporter who attended Power Shift and really wanted people to know that we're about to have a mass takeover called the Ride for Clean Energy Revolution. Somewhere down the way, Devin would call the same number. And Devin would be from Philadelphia, attempting to board the train, but unable to do so because so many people with all of their signs from clearly somewhere else, because they're all using tokens, are doing something crazy in the metro. Now, we know it's not crazy, but the news won't know that till they get there and they cover it. That's the point. That's what makes it a tactic. That's what makes this strategic. The third person usually plays an adversary, someone who doesn't agree, sort of makes a conflict or confrontation in the situation. What they would be calling and saying, probably from the angle of being an older person, this is Sean, there's so many youth and young adults. I swear, nobody here is older than 25, and all of them are protesting something. I don't give a shit. I just want to get on the train. At this point, they have an antagonist, a protagonist in a clear situation that just may be newsworthy, and they've got to get their own eyes on it to be able to tell. So that brings us to number 3. You can provide as many or as little details as you need to make your angle interesting. Act. Feel free to be hyperbolic. My bad. I do know how to read. I wrote it. But that does come with some limitations that we want to make sure we list. Nothing unsafe, nothing inappropriate, nothing illegal. Those 3 things. Because we do not want it on record that we may have attempted to do anything unsafe, illegal, or like unsensitive to communities.
Don't do it.
Those are the 3 things we're asking. No. Please. Lastly, when is this happening? There will not be awesome sporadic periods of ninja meeting all throughout the conference. We will only be ninjas during the Ride for Clean Energy Revolution, which is our direct action for day number 2 of Power Shift.
And that is specifically for Power Shift Northeast. And for those of y'all who are watching this, who are going to be attending other Power Shifts, there will be actions at those too. Stay tuned for the details. But Northeast is coming up, so we're focusing on Northeast right now.
Right. But you can ninja media in your region as well. Would love to talk more. Ninja, media, deactivated.
Beep, boop. So, thinking about all the media liaisons, including and not limited to the Ninja Media team, we talked a little bit about what y'all do at Power Shifts, and now we want to talk a little bit about what don't you do at Power Shifts. And the most important message that we absolutely cannot hammer into y'all enough is please do not engage in electioneering of any kinds. I know what's electioneering, you may be asking. That's a great question. That means that any organization, company, group, or individual, any representatives of any organization, agree by participating in Power Shift and by engaging with the media at Power Shift, you agree to not distribute literature, wear items of clothing, or any buttons or anything, or supporting any political candidates or referendums or initiatives. So that means no, do not wear your Bernie shirt. Do not wear your Make America Great Again hat at Power Shift. This is not the place for that. Do not talk about how Hillary Clinton is the best for the climate or the worst for the climate. We are not here to do that. So, and again, no electioneering. Any organization agrees that none of its representatives will engage in any activities that could be perceived as any of that while representing that organization at Power Shift. Again, pretty please with cherries. This is super important. And you may be asking, why do we care about this so much? That's because Energy Action Coalition, the organization that's the engine behind Power Shift 2016, we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, boring legal jargon, but what that means is that if we try to engage in any of this political electioneering, we will lose our tax-exempt status, and that will be very sad for us. And it will be a huge debacle, and that, when we're talking about the story that we want to tell coming out of Power Shift 2016, this is not that. Gotcha? Gotcha.
And also, you don't want to talk about your mayor. You don't want to talk about your council people. You don't want to talk about anyone that qualifies as a politician or policy maker. You do want to talk about the policies. That's it. No politicians, all policy. And you're in the clear. Mm-hmm. So we have a little question with a big answer. When do media liaisons start? Now. Like yesterday now. Like last week now. Like now. Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? Well, we send out a recruitment packet that talked about digital outreach. And that is a part of what media liaisons do. We're asking you to tell your friends, I've accepted this dope volunteer role and I'll be dealing with media. Do you think you'll want to talk to them? You want to talk to your favorite activist. I'm going to be on the ground at Power Shift in Philly. Do you have friends there, or will you be attending? You want to make sure your community calendar knows that your group is coming. Hey there, we're bringing a contingent to Philly, and here's why it matters to us and our work at home. You want to get on the community calendars. You want to get in groups. You want to get on blogs. We also have a media list that if your organization is willing to, we're asking that you reshare the same press releases we populate with those media contacts. Why? Because receiving them from multiple angles makes it what? Press worthy. Think digital ninja media without the acting and the lies. Anywho, we really need you, and we really appreciate you for being willing to take on the task of dealing with the press. We know that this could be difficult. We know that it could be scary and anxiety inducing, but we're all in this together. And the story that we tell as a unit will make sure that the truth is revealed to people who know nothing about the fight for climate justice. So this is the part where we ask if you have questions.
And I want to preface that by saying, so here are our email addresses, Ayana and Devin at energyactioncoalition.org. So if you come up with questions later, or if you're watching this recorded, or if you want access to that nifty digital media packet that Ayana was just talking about, reach out to us and we will make sure that you get everything that you need. But for now, we are here to answer any questions that may pop into your head. Feel free to speak up. I don't know if you actually can talk into this, but I think you should be able to / drop them in the group chat and we will do our best to answer.
Additionally, we'll be touching bases with each media liaison team on the ground at their respective power shifts. You can be looking for us to huddle at around 8 a.m. on day 1 and probably the same time on day 2. Truly, truly appreciative of everyone who took the time to join us today and appreciative of the work that you've put towards making Power Shift a thing. We're ready to recharge, and you're the reason for that.
Thanks, y'all. We'll wait a couple minutes to see if any questions pop up, and if not, that is also totally fine, and thank y'all again.